Tyler Morgan, left tackle, middle linebacker. I started playing when I was 8 years old in Clarksburg. Sophomore year, I looked up to Kerr. Stanley. He helped me a lot through my position. Probably when me and Zach Bowles painted the guy in Riverside last year. Double team. I think it's the tradition. The tradition is just great here.
My name's Kerr III. Most people know me as Spud. I played from 2000 to 2003. I was a left guard and a middle linebacker. I played under Bruce Kerr and, of course, John Cole and Al Lanzi. Coach Cole was more of a friend guy, you know. He was very, I'd say he always was more personable, more joking around. Coach Kerry was strict forward. He had a plan of, we ran the stick eye. Our line was our best feature. We didn't care who was in the backfield. We were going to put a 1,000-yard rusher in the backfield, and we were proud of our line. Coach Kerry was a good guy, strong, joked around with me a lot, but strict with most others. They were good guys, and Mr. Lanzi was always preaching his church. For me, was probably 2000 when we played at Bird. The whole police escort thing and everything was kind of cool. The Damons did a cookout before it. Winning that game 7-6 was pretty wild. A couple blocked field goals. Another one would have to be my senior year, my first game, when I hit the kid from Tyler Consolidated. Hit him pretty hard. And then, of course, the other Bird game that we won 22-21 in overtime, and me giving the winning block to let Hanchmaker score. I've been to a couple games recently, but 4 or 5 years ago I moved to Florida, so didn't really have a chance to get back. But in the last few years I've been there. I'm glad to say I played with Josh. I'm glad to see he's doing excellent. Known that family for a while. I couldn't see anyone better taking over for Bruce Kerry than him. Probably the smartest, knowledgeable football player I played with. And his family's built for this, so I'm happy to see him doing well. I know we used to run stick eye, and in the past years they pass a lot more. I've seen that they're starting to run the pistol formation, which is pretty unique for Bridgeport. But they do pass a lot more, where I know my quarterback probably passed maybe 20 times through the whole year. They could pass maybe 10 to 15 times in a game, which is great because as the game evolves, they're keeping up with standards. And in order to win in AAA, as they were a couple years ago and now, you have to pass, and you can't just run stick eye the whole time and expect to win playoff games. Of course, I went to Fairmont State University for culinary arts. After I went there for a couple years, I moved to Florida, worked for Disney for a few years. Got with a restaurant that was more high-end, Spanish, Cuban food. After a couple years working with them, they moved me to D.C., moved me up in position as a sous chef. Was in D.C. for a couple years. Amazing town. High-paced atmosphere. Very, very encultured into their food. Any kind of culture you could think of, it's there. Which is amazing as a chef. You can find anything. So after a couple years, decided to move back. Cooked here for a little bit, but as everyone else did, I hopped on the oil and gas train. So been doing that and loving it ever since. Right now I work for a temp company called Winston's, but I'm on a interview process and a process with Baker Hughes. What I've always been told, and we even had a shirt made out of it, is tradition never graduates. And I know playing for Bridgeport, you realize that, maybe not as a young kid, but as you get older you do, and you realize that the camaraderie you have there is some of the greatest times you'll have. Just to play hard and don't look back at this situation, but look in the present and realize what you have here and cherish the moments.